Every year on Thanksgiving week, the media does all these hypocritical stories about getting along at Thanksgiving. These reports say Americans are so polarized, and news agencies present themselves as being the ones to give you the solutions for handling that. All of that happens with no awareness and no mention of the fact that they are polarizing the hell out of America by lying so much. So, of course, people believe in these alternate realities. There's a whole other way to look at this and to face holiday dinners. Today, on this mini episode, I will bring you that, plus a Thanksgiving message for you and my own version of a Black Friday sale coming up on They Stand Corrected. Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for being here and for tuning in every week. Those of you who have been tuning in, those of you who are new, thanks for joining. And this is a great time to go back and hear episodes you have not heard yet. Oh, I should introduce myself. My name is Josh. Hi, Josh Levs. This is my podcast, They Stand Corrected, which fact checks the news. This is a holiday week here in the United States. Many listeners are in other countries and might not celebrate Thanksgiving, or might be in America not celebrating it. That does happen too. To all those of you who are celebrating it, I'm wishing you a very happy Thanksgiving. And at this time of year, I think a lot about gratitude. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But first, I just wanted to take a moment to point out something that the media does every year. Here are just a couple examples. Here's NPR.
Thanksgiving is upon us, and once again, we suspect the political divides the country is living through may make for some awkward conversations at dinner tables. So we thought we'd try to help with that a little by talking to some folks who've been thinking about how to engage in more productive conversations and maybe even do a little bit to repair the social fabric.
The social fabric that you, the media, have been tearing at through the kinds of lies that I report on this show every week. Here's one more example. CNN last year.
Many of you are bracing for Thanksgiving. Spending the holiday with family is supposed to be fun and filling, but let's be honest, it can also get testy and frustrating. It could be even touchier this year coming off a divisive election with clashing political views.
Please be honest. Please. Am I allowed to make a Christmas wish or Hanukkah wish? If I could, it would be that the media start being honest. And that includes being honest with themselves about the role that they are playing in society. There are so many examples of how big news agencies lie all the time, fueling myths on the far right and the far left. Let's just take one here. This alleged 600% increase in sex trafficking in the United States due to illegal immigrants. That is something that Trump's chosen figure to lead immigration reform has been lying about in the media without being corrected over and over and over throughout the campaign and throughout this year. But if you are a person who heard that and you believe that that's the case, then of course you would want Trump and his teams to do something about it. People need truth. And while the mainstream media allows lies like that, the mainstream media itself is constantly lying in favor of the big lie of the left, big bad Israel. I've shared tons of examples with you about that. It's a nonstop onslaught of misrepresentations that threaten democracy on the far right and the far left. I had a conversation about this in an episode called Connectomes. This was episode 69. I spoke with the brilliant author Leslie Zane. She wrote a book called The Power of Instinct, and she runs a company called Triggers. She's done all this research into the subconscious mind, and we talked about how lots of forces, including and especially the media, have manipulated people's brains. People develop these deep subconscious associations. Here is a clip from that interview.
The terrible polarization, the fact that people can't discuss politics over dinner, over Thanksgiving, all of this is because our Republican and Democrat connectomes have become so extreme. One of the most fascinating things is if you take two people who have completely different connectomes, right? Now put these two people in a room and say, hey, we're going to talk politics. They're going to pretty much start hyperventilating. Their faces are going to get red. They may feel like punching each other. But this goes back to work that was done by Professor Michael Platt at Wharton. What he saw was that if you criticize somebody's brand that they care about a lot and have a lot of affinity for, the same part of the brain lights up that feels pain.
Wow.
That's wild.
This gets to something that I've talked about on the show and that I've thought about a lot, which is the way that we raise kids in society, that we raise them to believe that their intelligence is reflected by how well they dig in and argue for a position. But the kind of intelligence that we need is the opposite. It's what can I learn about this? The curiosity, the open mindedness, the wanting to learn. We're not training into their minds early on that that is the real reflection of intelligence. So people hear someone trash something they already think, and they're like, no, 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 this cannot possibly be. I now must reject that and argue rather than thinking, wait a second, maybe this is an opportunity for me to learn something.
I totally think that that is a phenomenon that's going on.
I'm often asked by people, I just got a message about this yesterday, I think, asking what to say when they're talking with people who believe things that are false. My answer is, would you be up for me sending you some facts? That, to me, is a great opener. Let them answer. See what they say. I encourage you to just tell people, well, there's this thing called They Stand Corrected by a guy who's a longtime fact checker, totally independent, very not Republican or Democrat, someone who is saying, here's what we know for sure, and here's where the media has gone wrong. Could I send it to you? Would you be up for that? And they might say no. They might say yes. And then just send them a link to this show. That kind of thing can be extremely helpful. I've heard from listeners who have told me that that is how they introduced other people to it. If you are in a situation with a family member or friend or anyone who says something false, like the 2020 election was stolen, or all these illegal immigrants are responsible for a massive increase in fentanyl deaths in the United States, also false, by the way, and those deaths went down under Biden. Or they might say Israel has killed 80,000 civilians, or whatever number Hamas is claiming that day, or anything. You can say, would you be up for me sending you some facts? Instead of putting the person on the defensive, because as you just heard in our conversation, that gets people to dig their heels in very often. So this can be very helpful. And obviously, it's helpful to this show. This is Thanksgiving week, and I want to thank you all for everything and anything you do to share the word about this show. You know, when I launched it more than a year and a half ago now, I had no idea whether this show would be able to last. In the attention economy, people are constantly clamoring to be heard, saying, please look at my video, please like what I just wrote on Facebook, whatever it is. There's too much content coming at us literally from the moment we get up until the moment we go to sleep. I knew that trying to be heard at all in the attention economy is tough. You know, my years on NPR and CNN, that's another reason I chose those examples just now for you. They sort of had these built-in automatic audiences, and they took care of the outreach. But when I went outside the big media system to do this corrective process, to show you how the media lies so much and fails to fact check and fails you, I knew that trying to be heard amid all that noise would be like imagine a million people with these giant loud instruments, loud drums and tubas and whatever else. And then I'm over here with a triangle like, hello, here are some facts. It can be tough to be heard, but the way that this spreads is through you. Every step you take to share this show, to share the newsletter that comes along with it is incredibly impactful and meaningful. When you rate and review the show on whatever platform you're listening to it on, that spreads the word. I am super grateful. Another part of the Thanksgiving tradition here in America is, of course, Black Friday. That means discounts, and I am participating. This show can only exist with your support, and there are a bunch of ways you can support. The best is to become a paid subscriber to the newsletter. Definitely get the newsletter no matter what. It's free. It's filled with links and information and social media content. Substack calls it a bestseller, so that's good. You can find it at the link in the show notes, or just go to my website, joshlebs.com, and click on newsletter. It will take you there. So there's the free version, but paid subscribers get additional content, including edited, hyperlinked, searchable transcripts that you can't find anywhere else. The people who are most influential in determining what I talk about on this show are people who become what are called founding members at the newsletter. When you become a founding member, you can at any time send me requests to fact check something. And very often, those become entire episodes. I dig into these things. So really doing that is a way of valuing your own time. If you see some articles and you want to know if they're true, you could try to go Googling and figure it out yourself, but the media lies so much, how would you know? But when founding members send me their links, they are most likely to have me fact check those things for the show. All paid subscribers are able to send me links. I look at all of them and try to get to as many as I can. So if you check out those options at the newsletter right now, you will find discounted rates. This is also a time that people are thinking a lot about gift giving. So if you just want to give some kind of gift, there are these two really cool ways. There's PayPal, paypal.me/JoshLebs, or this new thing, Buy Me a Coffee. It's fun. It's just buymeacoffee.com/JoshLebs. You can give $18, which is significant for me, or $1.80, or whatever you want, anything. It's all nice, and I appreciate all of it. And every penny goes to the expenses for making this show happen. Speaking of making this show happen, I want to thank my awesome engineer, Don, of Raven Media. He is the one who makes this show sound good and makes sure it shows up in your feeds. One last Thanksgiving-related note for you. I give a speech on the first anniversary of the October 7th terrorist massacres in Israel. In that speech, I talked about some things that very few people know and realize about Native Americans. Some of them go by the term Indian. It is a powerful reminder of how the simplistic stories we are fed by the media are so often not the whole picture. And as this show proves, very often they're not the picture at all. Hear that in episode 27. All right, to those of you celebrating Thanksgiving, have a happy, wonderful holiday and week ahead. And to those of you who don't, have a great week. I am grateful to all of you, and I will see you next week.